Hello and welcome. This is a review of Lumberjack's Dynasty. If you were to look back on my channel, I did a review on Farmer's Dynasty a couple of years ago, and I gave it a pretty bad slating because it was released full of bugs. Well, unfortunately, and some of them were game killing bugs in Farmer's Dynasty, literally game killers. I think this might be the same. So while it's a review, it's going to be pretty short because I don't think this game should have been released. I haven't got far enough into it to know if it's a game breaking bug or not. I suspect it could be, because you're tasked with repairing all of these buildings here, and it's quest driven, so then you've got to wait for something to trigger for another quest to come. Well, I'm already over 8 hours into this and I've not done any lumberjacking whatsoever, and what I've done now is I've reverted and I've started a new game so I can show you what one or two of the major problems are, and the reason that I don't think it's a good idea to buy it at the moment. There's been a lot of introduction and I've spoken to people, I've done a few quests, but now this is a fresh save or a fresh game that I've more or less started, and I've cut out all the nonsense like the bus travelling that you have to do. It takes quite a lot of time, and the premise of the game is that you've turned up and you're helping your grandma and your granddad out on their lumberjack thing, the lumberjacking or farm business, whatever. And now that's my auntie there, and I've got to go talk to her. So she's a quest giver at the moment.
Hello, dear.
So
good to see you.
Hello, Auntie. How are you?
I am fine, darling. But you look half starved, dear.
you can press A and cut them short if you want.
Do you need me
to help you
I
or
haven't heard from
something?
Lily for quite some time. Could you go over there and see if she's okay? She is a herbalist.
Yeah, yeah.
I need to ask you something.
Of course, sweetheart. What do you want to know?
That
greenhouse.
What's it used for?
What uses it? You can buy seedlings.
wonder
You look
what-
after your vegetables.
Yeah, you can fix it up.
You mentioned
You mentioned
You can
animals.
keep cows and hens in the barn. You saw
Cows
just
and
think of
hens
it.
in the barn.
Having your own eggs. You have to collect the eggs and milk. You could also
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
of course you
people around
do.
here keep
Yeah.
sheep too.
Yeah, thank you. What can you tell me about
What can you tell me
gardening,
about
Auntie?
gardening?
There's a
'Cause
small
I don't know
orchard there
anything.
already. You can also grow,
Yeah.
talking of flowers.
Yeah.
You could make,
Yeah.
Do you have any
Cooking.
tips for me?
well, most of the things you produce are edible. Apples, vegetables, eggs, honey. You could can most of them and make jams and other preserves. Also, you can buy
jam.
cookbooks to learn how to make more delicious meals. With a
Yeah.
certain skill, you will learn how to experiment.
Yeah, thank you. Any other
you
advice?
can give me?
Well, folks around here are really friendly. So get around and talk to people.
Yeah, talk to people.
Gotta go.
Gotta go.
Look after yourself.
Bye. That's just a little example. I mean, obviously it's a type of a game. It's not Farming Simulator or Lumberjack Simulator, because Lumberjack Simulator was it's just not a good game. Farming Simulator I used to absolutely love, but last two versions of it they've ruined it. But I'll show you why I don't think this game is suitable. You've got all these buildings that you can fix up, just as in or almost just as in Lumberjack's Dynasty. Part of getting the introduction is you get the scaffolding and you get this chainsaw and you get this nail gun where you can nail things. So if I press the right button, it gives me engineer's sight, because that helps, always up there, and in red is what's got to be fixed. So you just walk up to things and just press X. Fairly satisfying in its own way, and it mysteriously does it without any extra materials. You can just, at this point in the game, endlessly fix anything that you want, right? And when you fix a building, which I'm not gonna do everything because it'll just make this video too long for the purpose of the video, and the purpose of the video is basically to warn you to not purchase the game at the moment, because I don't think it's in a fit state. Because I buy games to enjoy them, not to find workarounds and not to find bugs. I'm not here to play test and give feedback to the game developer. It's not my job. I'm a customer, and as a customer, I want to play the game. I bought the game to play, and that's what I want to do. I want to play it. I don't want to play test it. I want to actually play it. As you can see, I can't reach up there. Sometimes you can jump and do it like that. These two, you can run and jump and go all over the place, and you're not going to do them. You say, maybe you can use scaffolding, and you would be quite right. So I'll go to my scaffolding, and if you press the engineer site button, which is the right bumper on the Xbox. I'm reviewing this on the Series X, by the way. It gives you the outline of where you can put your scaffolding. So if you ever, if you do buy the game, as a little tip, if you ever don't know where you can put your scaffolding, it clearly shows you every location by pressing the right bumper button. So you can see I can place it a couple of places inside. And one of the places I can place it is exactly where I need to place it, so I can get to them two little hammers and repair that little cross member up there. So I will place that, go back to my gun, and I'm stuck on that rafter there. And it doesn't matter if you repair the rafter or not, it just doesn't make a difference. You cannot get up there. There's no crouch button. You can't jump up there. You can't do anything. So this repairing your farm quest, I've done every building on this in another save that I've got, and it's never triggered the completion of it. And if I might show you the save that I've got that on, where I've gone further than this. And the other thing is, you've got it's a lumberjack simulator. It's not farm simulator, or rather it's Lumberjack Dynasty rather than Farm Dynasty. You've got this. You end up being able to use this woodyard, and it's quite confusing because I've never actually used it yet. All I've actually done is cut a few logs, and they ended up in here. And this was part of the tutorial. I haven't found a way to use them yet in the full game. So if I go to my scaffolding, you can see where I can place scaffold, and you have to fix all these buildings up, and for the most part it's doable, but there's a pretty major irritation. You can put scaffold in here to help you a bit, and that will help with some of it, but there's a place up here that you can't place any scaffold in this area or not. And if I go to my gun, you can see this bit's easy to do. You can just go to your nail gun, get to your hammer, repair a wooden plank. Oh, that's great, that's done that. And now I might be about to get stuck in the scenery and have to reload the game. So that gives you a clue of the state of this game, because that's happened on several occasions trying to fix this bit up, and I can't get up the steps. And when you go up the steps and the scaffolding, sometimes you just slide off sideways and there doesn't seem to be any way through it. Now this is about the highest point I can reasonably get to without doing any aerobatics. I managed to get to that one that time, but that one eluded me, so I've jumped. But what's happened a few times is, like what's happened now, I've jumped and I'm literally stuck in here now. I'm hitting the jump key. There's no crouch. I'm hitting the jump, the run, everything. I'm just sat here. And if you save the game, I can't remember. I think you do. You end up back in here. So it could be a potential game breaker. I mean, a couple of times I have just managed to slide out of here, but more often than not, I've had to reload the game. I am totally stuck in here now, and I cannot get out of it. And so what I'll do is I'll load a prior game. I think I've got it written down. Which one do I want? 1450 hours on the 18th. Yeah, by the way, if you can hear my fan, it's been quite warm. It's 30 degrees in here at the moment, which is unusual for England. My Xbox is like a heater though. The Series X gives off quite a lot of heat, especially at this time of year. It's great in winter, of course. In winter it makes it 25 degrees in here. It's quite a small room. Oh, I don't know why I've spawned in the cellar on this save. Have I got the wrong one? Let me just check. No, I have. Have I loaded wrong game? That may be my fault. Yeah, that's the initial game. It must have clicked. I don't know why. I just saw I saw where I wanted to load drop about 5 spaces. So I don't know what's going on with that. I've never seen that happen before. Maybe I found another bug. Yeah, I think this is the right one. Let me just check where I'm at with it. If I press my engineer, if I get the tool in my hand, might not need the tool in my hand, and do my engineer's site, it's not telling me much about the buildings. Home barn. The house is not telling me much. Let's see about the greenhouse here. I'll just check the time and date on the July the 6th. I think that's right, yeah, €434. I've got a fishing rod, yeah. You go through and the quests give you things like you can go pick mushrooms. And one of the quests gave me a trailer I haven't picked up yet, and I've got no use for it at the moment because it's like a trailer to put like grain or something like that, and that's what the kind of trailer looks like. And you're supposed to be logging in this, and there is a tractor, but I don't have a tractor and a trailer that you do get to use in the tutorial. But once the tutorial's ended, you can't get back in it. So I've got no way of moving any lumber about at all. I can cut a few trees down. I can cut trees down and lose my social points by cutting ones down I'm not supposed to. So if I go to my chainsaw now, I know I'm getting off topic a little bit, and I press the engineer's site, you can tell I'm not supposed to cut that. If I cut it, I'll lose social points, quite a lot as well. So if I go back onto my farm and go to the animal building, that's my house, home animal barn. If I go to engineer's site, see that beam, it's still not fixed, and the quest, even though it's on another quest, hasn't triggered. Hang on, where are they? See, the quest is a place to say, get your teeth in. A place to stay, and I can't find a way to switch quests, so I'm stuck on that local investor, or now I'm stuck on help Isaac, and I thought, oh, maybe you just click on the map. So a place to stay, I'm clicking the A button on the map, and it's just staying on what it is. I mean, that might be that I don't know the game, or I haven't played the game enough, but this not triggering, everything else on the farm is fixed except for this, and there's no way I can fix it, and that is just, the game should not be released in this state. Potentially it's fun. It's going to be very long-winded and very, very laborious, like like Farmer's Dynasty was, and it's the nature of the game. So the longer winded a game is, the more unforgivable it is when you put a game breaker in it, because you can potentially, as in Farmer's Dynasty, do a game breaking save, and if you're not an experienced player and you've never played PC games, you won't realise you have to save your game every time you take 3 steps. Literally, this is one of them games. If you walk 100 yards, you're probably wisest. Wisest saving your game, because you'll lose progress. But then there's always the chance that you're going to save yourself into a total dead save, if you know what I'm saying. If in the Farmer's Dynasty, you could literally save the game at a point where a game killing bug had occurred, and then when you reloaded it, the game was unplayable, or you couldn't progress any further, one of the two. And unfortunately, this looks to be one of them sort of games. I've already got 8+ hours in it, and well, basically I've not really got anywhere. I understand that it's one of them games that you'd have to do the quests to unlock this, to unlock that, to unlock the other. Because as you can see on the, I'm going to find the right button, work mode menu, I've got some skills as a lumberjack, but I can't seem to switch that skill tree so that I can read what all the other improvements have been. Maybe it's just going to happen automatic, maybe not, but it looks like it could be really interesting. And I might sound like I'm being unfair by saying, it looks crap or blah blah blah, and there is some nice touches to it. The nice depth of field that you get in Farmer's Dynasty, the nice lighting that you get in Farmer's Dynasty, but it's not a AAA game. Last time they tried to charge you £45 for that Farmer's Dynasty, and out the box, like this one, game killing bugs. Well, I'm not 100% sure if this has game killing bugs. It's just that first, your initial quest is to rebuild your farm for your auntie, and you cannot complete it. So if that could be potentially a game killer, because I might not be able to do anything else. But seeing as I'm already 9 hours into a game and I've made very little progress, I've hardly make a dent in it. My problem is I want to play the game, not play test it. So what I intend to do is just to leave the game and not play it anymore. And in future, I mean, this is what I used to do with PC games. I got to a stage with PC games because they were releasing things. Just a bit of a diversion. A long time ago, before the internet, you would buy a game and it would probably work straight out of the box. And if it didn't work, there was big trouble, because then you had to hope that one of the magazines that was available, like PC Zone or something, had got a little 3.5-inch disc on the front of it that had the patch for the game that you had. And you had to update it by putting the patch onto your computer and updating it. So that got to be so much of a pain in the backside. I actually started living a year in the past as far as games and PC hardware went, because you were forever putting new sound cards in, graphics cards, making boot discs. This would work with a mouse, this wouldn't work with a mouse, this was ad-lib, this was Sound Blaster, blah de blah de blah. You spent more times fiddling with your system to get the games working, and then when Windows came, you had this crossover. Anyway, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent then. Now they've got the internet and things are online, they think they can just release a game and let you play test it. And once you've, Codemasters are terrible, and that'll probably get because I've said Codemasters, it might just mute the video at this point, because it's done it on my other one. I didn't say Codemasters, but that's like 4 Codemasters, 5 Codemasters, 6 now, and it might block it out, because it does if you say that thing about the devices that have got a piece of fruit on the front of them, and they make telephones and tablets. That seems to get blanked out of videos on YouTube, so like censored. So the games are released now, and they just think, oh, well, wait, we'll just patch it when we feel like it. I know you've paid 70 or 80 quid or 50 or 60 quid for your game, but we'll fix it when we want. So on the PC, I just thought, right, I'm just going to like take a year out. I could play other things. That's when initially Xbox had come out, the first Xbox, and I literally lived 6 months to a year behind everyone else, so that I'd got a computer that was capable of running last year's games, which were the games I were going to play, and they're all fully patched, fully working, and I got them at a discount, and my computer ran them like a dream. And I lived like that for a couple of years until I got totally fed up with PC games just coming out not working. That I stopped and upgrading constantly, the graphics cards, etc., and CPUs, motherboards, blah blah blah. Just totally bored with it. And when Xbox came along, I thought, great, they can't put these things out with bugs, and they didn't until everything's connected to internet, and then you're getting PC crossovers like this. Number one, the PC game makers don't seem to know how we use a controller, so that I'm using my thumbstick to go left, right, up and down on the right thumbstick, and then it'll want me to press X or A to do something. So I have to take my thumb off the thumbstick to press A or X or any of the other colour buttons, Y, X, B, A. Right, it should be on a shoulder button or on a trigger to do the function, like A, open, activate. So I'm off the trigger. Sorry, I'm off the thumbstick, and I'm now pressing A. It's pretty much brain dead, and it shows that they don't know what they're doing when they're programming these. There's no way to change the controller bindings either, not at the moment. So my advice is basically, I would like to have done a review on this that says, oh yeah, it's brilliant, buy it, because I like this sort of game. Unfortunately, I don't think it's worth your time. I would wait until it's discounted and then check on the patch status, because even if it's discounted to nothing, even if it were free, you wouldn't want to waste 10 hours of your life to get to this stage and then realise that you're not getting any further, and that your quest that you need to do to complete the rest of the game is unfinishable. And for me, that just kills it. I put basically a little review on the Xbox store, which I might put on, but there's no response. It's just complaining about the game like this, that it's unplayable, or rather buggy, and it's just not worth the time, because you can't progress, or you seemingly can't progress. And I've got other things to do rather than play test their games, and I don't want to play test their games, especially when I've paid for it. Even if they gave me the game for free, I wouldn't want to play test it, because I'm just not interested. I want to play games. That's it. This is my leisure time, and I don't get enough of it. And them just making me do workarounds and have a look at if you get a chance. The Farmer's Dynasty review was long, but I go into some depth about it, and there's a lot of problems with it. And it got a few thousand views, and if a few people didn't buy it as a result of the review I give it, then that's their problem. And if the same happens with this, then that's their problem. And if you wait until it's on discount and patched, then it's probably going to be a good game. But you just don't ever know. When that company that I mentioned that began with a C earlier, they're just renowned for doing patches on games and actually breaking the game even more than never going back and fixing it. Like Grid and a couple of others that they've done. They're one of the worst companies. But I'm not complaining about them. The only upside to this is that this was only £24.99 compared to Farmer's Dynasty, which was £45. And there's no way that game was worth that much. But then again, game value depends how many hours you put into it, I guess. I think I've finished now. Like I said, I wish I could have done I wish it could have been, oh, it's fantastic, this, just buy it, it's brilliant. It's a lost opportunity, and yet another kick in the privates from Microsoft Store, because all they seem to be putting out is this so-called indie stuff that's got these lovely so-called retro graphics. But I've bought an Xbox Series X. It's like the premium console in the world, and you're putting games out that I could have played on my original Xbox. So what was the point of me buying the Xbox One, which had no real good games on it that to me really shone in any way, shape or form, except maybe Witcher on Elite Dangerous. Yeah, there's probably a bad example of a couple on there, but Forza was an absolute disaster on it, and there's no Forza on this. So, but regarding the retro games that they keep trying to push on us, and I didn't buy this console to look at retro graphics. This is as bad as I want it. I'd be willing to play this, even though there's loads of pop-in and not particularly good frame rate. It's playable, and it's the game that you want to play. I know the graphics can in some cases be very important, and in other cases not so important. This is one of them cases where it's not so important. It would be nice to have better graphics, but you're not going to cry about it. But then if I were paying 50, in fact I were paying more than £40 for this, I would want excellent AAA graphics out of it. This isn't good enough for that kind of money, like they wanted for Farmer's Dynasty. It's passable for £25, but not for 50, and or for 40 even. And that's my little whine over. And as I said, I wouldn't recommend buying this until it's patched and probably discounted. But it depends how fast they are with the patch, and how much you want to play, and how much you want to waste your time. So I would thank you for watching. I hope it's helped.